Hello everyone, I'll be analyzing the first part of our selected scene from Black Panther, focusing on how pronunciation and phonetic features differ between BBC English received pronunciation and the original African accent spoken by the characters.
Come home, Nakia.
So let's begin with the first line by T'Challa. Come home, Nakia. In received pronunciation, it's come home, Nakia. In African English, it's come home, Nakia. The vowel come is more open in the original accent compared to in received pronunciation. Home is pronounced with clear or diphthong. Stress is placed on home and Nakia. The phrase ends with falling intonation, suggesting calmness but urgency.
I'm right here.
Now for Nakia's response, I'm right here. In received pronunciation is I'm right here. In African English, it's I'm right here. The original accent features rhoticity, meaning the R in here is pronounced. Also, I'm is often realized as M, which is common in African English and adds directness. The stress is on right, with a strategy supportive tone.
Stay.
Next, T'Challa softly says stay. In received pronunciation and African English, stay. The pronunciation is similar to both accents, but delivery differs. In the original, stay carries an emotional rising pitch, almost like a P, while received pronunciation would use a firmer falling tone. The intonation here adds vulnerability and humanizes the character.
I came to support you and to honor your father.
Finally, Nakia says, I came to support you and to honor your father. In received pronunciation, it's I came to support you and to honor your father. In African accent, she says, I came to support you and to honor your father. Notice the full pronunciation to and your in original accent. To and your instead of the reduced received pronunciation version, to and your. The African English also retains R in support and honor, showing strong rhoticity. The stress is on support, honor, and father, with a rising falling intonation pattern that expresses warmth and respect. These differences reflect both cultural speech patterns and emotional tones. The African English accent used Black Panther reinforces identity, formality, and closeness, which is deeply connected to the scene's emotional context.
But I can't stay.
The next line is, but I can't stay. In BBC English, the transcription is, but I can't stay. In the original accent, which is influenced by South African English, it is pronounced as, but I can't stay. In terms of stress, both versions place emphasis on can't and stay, but the original accent makes can't sound stronger and more expressive. For intonation, BBC English uses a slight rise on can't and then falls on stay, showing finality. The original accent also rises on can't, but with more emotion, and then the fall for stay is sharper, sounding more urgent. One more difference is the vowel in can't. BBC English uses a long R, while the original uses ah, making it sound more tense and direct.
I've seen too many in need just to turn a blind eye.
The next line is, I've seen too many in need just to turn a blind eye. In BBC English, it is pronounced, I've seen too many in need just to turn a blind eye. In the original accent, which is more rhotic, it becomes, I've seen too many in need just to turn a blind eye. Both versions stress seen, many, need, turn, and blind eye. But in the original accent, need sounds even stronger and blind eye is said more slowly for emotional impact. For intonation, the BBC English rises slightly through need and then falls at the end. It sounds serious but composed. The original accent uses a deeper fall after blind eye, giving a more emotive and moral tone. You also notice that in the original, turn is pronounced with a clearer R, and the schwa, becomes a fuller R. sound in some words, making the delivery firmer and more deliberate.
I can't be happy here knowing that there's people out there who have nothing.
Moving on to the next line. In BBC English, it is pronounced I can't be happy here, knowing that there's people out there who have nothing. While the original accent, which is rhotic and African influence, it becomes I can't be happy here, knowing that there's people out there who have nothing. In both versions, the main stress falls on happy and nothing, but the original accent gives more emotional weight to happy here and slows down at nothing for dramatic emphasis. For intonation, RP builds steadily toward a calm moral tone, then drops gently after nothing. The original accent rises emotionally on happy here and falls deeply on nothing, expressing stronger personal conflict.
What would you have Wakanda do about it?
The next line is, in BBC English, it is pronounced, what would you have? More family to have assets? While in the original accent, which carries African influence and stronger pitch shifts, it is, what would you have? More family to have assets. The stress in both accents falls on have, family, and assets, but the original accent places slightly more emphasis on assets, suggesting a sharper tone. For intonation, the RP version uses a gentle upward pitch at the end to indicate a genuine question, while the original version also rises, but with more expressiveness and challenge, with sounding slightly confrontational or morally questioning-ish.
Today, I will be comparing the stress and intonation patterns between two versions of English, which is BBC English and a South African influenced English accent.
Other countries do it, we could do it better.
In BBC English, they will say, other countries do it, we could do it better. Meanwhile, in South African English, they will say, other countries do it, we could do it better. In BBC English, stress falls on other countries, do, and better, with a rising intonation on do it and a fall on better. It creates a confident, polished tone. In contrast, the original accent influenced by South African English stresses all content words, especially better, which is delivered more forcefully. The R in better is clearly pronounced, and the final consonants are more defined, giving the sentence greater intensity and determination.
You are not like these other countries.
In BBC English, they will say nothing like these other countries. Meanwhile, in South African English accent, they will say nothing like these other countries. In the BBC English version, stress is placed on nothing, these, and countries with a steady, flat intonation as if stating a fact. Meanwhile, the original accent emphasizes nothing more heavily and uses a slightly rising tone on countries, suggesting a bit of emotional charge or defiance. Additionally, these is shortened to these, making it sound less formal. In summary, BBC English tends to use controlled stress and subtle intonation shift, which give a formal, reserved quality. On the other hand, the original accent uses heavier stress rhotic error and more emotional intonation patterns, delivering lines with greater expressiveness and power. This difference shows how stress and intonation are not just linguistic features, they reflect culture, identity, and emotion.